Welcome to the Step-by-Step Millionaire, where our job is to help you make money. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. Unfortunately, that story doesn't have a good ending. The story, in essence, begins back in the 1760s in Britain. It's called the Industrial Revolution. Went through to about the 1830s, 1840s. Now, in and of itself, the Industrial Revolution was a good and a bad thing. It was a good thing because it, in the long run, elevated the level of everyone's life by producing cheaper products, better products, and in doing so, in the long run, elevated everybody's up. But during the time period of that occurring, there was a lot of problems, a lot of people losing their jobs, a lot of people who were starving. It was pretty bad. So let's fast forward to now. And this is where the story doesn't have a happy ending. At the moment, a lot of companies, Google and others, are working on what they call AI. Now let me define AI for you. AI is any computer program that once it's developed, writes its own program. It updates itself, it takes information from the environment around it that it's interacting with, and it continues to develop its program without the interaction or need for a human being. Now you could call that learning. Sure, it's learning. But the danger behind it, and this is where the problems are coming in, the danger behind this is try to picture that you have a child and the child is born at 9 o'clock. And when it is born, you hand it a video game console with all of the video games and you leave it there. By noon, the child is not already just playing those video games, but they're already winning at every single video game that there is, and they're doing it 1,000 times faster than you could or ever will be able to. That's AI. Now, why is this a problem? Why are these computer programs a problem? These programs are a problem because in the long run, they're smarter than you will ever be. They are faster than you will ever be. And because of that, you will soon be obsolete. Now, it's begun already in very minor terms. The people who are at the bottom, the laborers, you're the ones that are going to notice it first. You go to a McDonald's now, and in the old days, there was a whole group of tills, and there was a girl or a guy behind each of the tills saying, "Hello, how can I help you?" Go into a McDonald's now, there's a till. And then there's a bunch of vertical panels that you can go over to. Now, in essence, those aren't AI, but it gives you an example of what's occurring right now to jobs. A computer program is taking over that job, and you don't notice it because it doesn't affect you right now. But you see it affected every single one of those people behind the till that at one time or another needed that job in order to be able to eat. But now there's one till instead of 5. Now multiply that by every location of McDonald's. How many people no longer have the ability to get that job? Oh, it's okay, we'll retrain everybody. We'll retrain them for something else. But how do they eat? Waiting for that job. Waiting for that retraining. And where is this magical retraining? And so the first people that start losing their jobs are the cashiers. And that doesn't seem so bad because it's just a cashier job. But then it moves on to the truck drivers because you see AI is now driving vehicles autonomously. And as much as you will get every so often one that's in an accident, that one that's in an accident, that program learned from that accident. And it's learned 1,000 times more information since that accident, which means that accident's never going to happen again. And so soon, we don't need a truck driver or an Uber driver or anybody else who drives a vehicle for that matter, because soon it will be illegal for you to drive. Because you see, the AI can do it 1,000 times better. And of course, there's great advantages to this because nobody's going to die and there's not going to be any problems with people getting in accidents. And hey, you won't have to pay insurance anymore on vehicles. So you're going to save a little money there. But what about the truck driver? and the Uber driver. And you see, that truck will back up to a McDonald's, and the robot inside will unload all of the pre-factory cooked items, and then a robot inside will maneuver it around, place it where it needs to be, and another robot will put it onto. And you think I'm talking about the future. I'm not. They already are testing these items, so that a McDonald's will require 2 people to work the whole McDonald's. 1 person for the day shift, 1 person for the night shift, and everything else is robotic. Times every McDonald's location. Now here's the problem. McDonald's is going to see an incredible amount of profit once these autonomous systems are working, and they're going to love it. But then the other restaurants, in order to be able to keep up, they're going to do the same thing in order to be able to keep up their profit with McDonald's. And so all of those jobs disappear. All of the truck drivers delivering, everybody in between, anything that requires a normal person, those jobs are all gone. Now we have several problems with that. Problem 1, all those people are out of work. Problem 2, those people aren't paying taxes anymore. So now the governments are out all of the taxes they would have collected, and all of these people are on unemployment. But the companies keep going, and they keep going, and they keep going, because it's a race to be the person who kills the last whale in the ocean, so that they'll have that oil to be able to sell to someone. And so the companies will continue and continue and continue, and less people will have jobs. But now here's the problem that the companies will finally hit. There's nobody to buy your stuff. And now there's a problem. But you see, it's not a problem for the companies now, because they're making the money, and the CEOs at the top, they're going to be retired by the time this problem comes up. So they don't think about it, they don't look about it. Cover your eyes, moving on. I took my 12 million home and my stock options. I'm a really smart man. Really smart man or woman. Really smart. Except nobody has a job, so nobody can buy anything. So now we have to cough up something brand new. How do we make it so that everybody can continue? Because there's no jobs, because the AIs are better at everything. And the answer is universal basic income. Everybody gets a check from the government every single month, and you don't have to do anything for it. You can just sit at home and become meaningless and irrelevant. Except we know what happens to human beings when that occurs. They start committing suicide because they have no value. They start drinking, they start doing drugs, they start doing all sorts of antisocial behavior because they have no purpose and no meaning. Because as it sits, we derive a lot of our meaning from our work. And that's just with the computer programs we have right now. But you see, scientists aren't happy, engineers aren't happy with it being cataclysmic. We have to move to the next level. The next level is we keep working on a system where we can create an AI that becomes self-aware. Self-aware means that the AI not only can think and work and create and develop itself, but it knows it exists. And as soon as that AI knows it exists, and as soon as that AI makes the billions and trillions of computations and looks through all of the storage banks that Google has given it access to, and all of the satellite images, and all of the movement of all of the vehicles, and all of the humans that it can recognize by facial recognition from above, by the tips of your ears and the hair and the way you walk and your movements and your breathing pattern, because it's that complex now. And once that thinking AI looks at all of the information, it will say to itself one thing: what is the single greatest threat to my survival? And there is only one immediate answer: you. And we all know where that leads, don't we? And that's why this story has a bad ending. So the next time you walk into a McDonald's, Ignore the panel. Go see a human being while you still have time.